Hello, and welcome to another episode of Reality Writes. This is the podcast where we talk all things writerish, bookish, and, whatever's on our mindish. I am author Ellie Alexander, and I'm here with the tech guy.
I am the tech guy. Hello. Before we get started, please, as always, thank you for listening, and please share this podcast with a friend or family member that you think might be interested in cozy mysteries, writing, reader, bookish topics, and more.
And more. Always. Today we're going to talk about some crafts, but as promised from the last episode, I believe that you had a few ideas that you thought might be fun to implement, and I'm terrified.
Yeah. I want to make it more interactive. I want to get the listeners, the darlings out there involved a little bit. And so, your 20th Bakeshop Mystery just came out recently, and you put together that great post of the 20 lessons you've learned over the last 20 books in that series. And I thought it'd be funny because I know this has come up before, and we can talk a little bit about this, but
Okay.
I thought it would be funny if we start a new segment that we'll start off every episode with called Stump Ellie.
Oh, no.
Basically, today I came up with some questions that are going to
Okay.
go way back in Bakeshop Mystery history. And these might not be the hardest questions, but it is, you're already writing, you're on book 21, book 22 for the series. So remembering stuff that takes place back in the early books might be a little difficult. But what I'd like to do is invite the listeners out there to send in questions, detailed questions from any series. So this can be from the Bakeshop Mysteries, it can be from the Sloane Krause Mysteries, Secret Bookcase Mystery, you name it. And send them to techguy, TECHGUY at elliealexander.co, not com.co. And I will, maybe I'll go through them and we'll pick out a few to ask you each week when we're recording episodes. But this way, if you send them in to techguy at elliealexander.co, she won't see them ahead of time and won't get to cheat. Because this is a little known fact about Ellie Alexander, but she cheats at everything. Board games, card games, you name it. Like you gotta watch her like a hawk.
But the problem is I cheat because I, half listen to the rules. It's not even necessarily, intentional cheating.
That is true.
It's just I don't fully pay attention, and then I'm like, "Oh, I thought I could do that. I can't."
Right. Yeah, she feigns ignorance. No, it in reality, that is very true. In a lot of relationships, guys get the stereotype of never reading the directions and just charging head first into things. That's you 100% in this relationship.
1,000%. Yeah.
And I get bent out of shape if the directions get just recycled with the box automatically. I'm like, wait, did you read where are the directions? No, they're gone.
We don't need them. We'll figure it out.
Yeah. Okay, so we're gonna have readers send it in, and listeners out there, if you want to send in your question as a voice memo, send it to me, and you'll be able to hear yourself ask it of Ellie, your voice on this podcast each week. So.
Whoa, darlings, we are leveling up. I am really scared though, because I guarantee I am not going to remember half of what I have written a decade plus ago, for sure.
No, and it's funny because this has come up before. We won't name names of authors or anything, but we've laughed because there have been authors that and love who have had to go to social media to ask, like, I can't remember, like, have I ever mentioned this in the series before? And I think that's awesome. So
I do too.
And readers will know. So all right. So without further ado, let's get started on this inaugural edition of Stump Ellie. The first, I picked one question from each of the first 3 Bakeshop Mysteries.
Okay.
So we're going way back. We're going back to the roots, back to the roots of the series. Yeah. Because now that the 20th book, Killing Me Souffle, just came out. Let's see what you know from Meet Your Baker.
Fabulous.
What was the very first thing that Jules baked at Tort after returning home to Ashland in Meet Your Baker?
This'll be good for a podcast. Lots of dead air where I'm
Right.
like,
I know I should have had my trivia. I probably have it somewhere here. It's funny.
some kind of trivia, like, background, like, I need the Jeopardy ding doom 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 doom. Okay,
Mm.
I know this. I definitely know this because and this is a fun little backstory. Jules and Helen, her mom, their relationship is modeled on my relationship with my mom. And I got to use one of my favorite recipes of my mom's from childhood in Meet Your Baker. It was like the inspiration for the very first thing that Jules is baking when she returns to home to Ashland for the first time. And it's also involved in the murder scene, which is they are making Helen's signature raspberry Danish. And they actually also make homemade raspberry jam. Ah,
Uh-huh. Alright, you got it, yeah.
yes.
Actually, yeah, I can't remember if we've talked about that on this podcast or not, but I remember reading an early draft of the first, of Meet Your Baker, and the scene where she discovers the body with that raspberry jam, it was like I can't remember exactly, but it was just one big long rhyme, that had red, head,
Dead.
and dead,
Yes.
all within the same sentence, and and so I remember coming into you and going, "Well, no, this is really great, except did you mean to do this?" And I read it out loud, and you were just like, "Oh, no."
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like if Dr. Seuss met a cozy mystery. I
Right,
remember
right.
being like that definitely, yeah, because it was like, she was dead, there was a pool of raspberry jam around her head, and,
Yeah.
I yeah,
There was
red
something
bag.
else, yeah, there was, like, 3 or 4 words, it was hilarious, but, yeah, alright, you got that one right, so
Okay.
congratulations. But see,
Yeah.
I'm kinda teeing them up with some pretty easy ones. I think the readers are going to dive deep into the Bakeshop Mystery lore and, maybe even Sloane Krause, you'll get some, Leavenworth stuff
Oh,
too.
boy. Yeah, I was gonna say that's a little bit of a softball, so thank you.
Yeah.
Making me feel good right out of the gate, okay.
Okay, we're going for, question number 2 comes from book number 2, A Matter of Life and Death.
Fair.
Um, what is the name of the baking competition Jules enters in the book, and what unexpected ingredient sabotaged one of the contestants?
Oh my gosh, okay. Um, uh, I think it's take the cake, right?
Yes, that is correct. Yes.
Whoo, okay, I had to go a little deep for that one. For a second, I thought you were gonna get me. And what sabotages one of the contestants?
I'm gonna play a little music here while we're waiting.
Okay, great. Yeah. If you're, if you're not watching, darlings, now we're both in this one head bop, that's great. Um,
Turned
I remember the overall theme of this because this is early on in the series, so I don't wanna give away many spoilers, but Jules and Thomas have reconnected after not seeing each other for many years, and there is a vegan chef who is very interested in Thomas, and it makes Jules a little jealous. And so I think the right answer is Futter because she's making vegan butter, and at some point, I don't remember how exactly, but I think that that maybe she's using real butter instead of like, she's faking it?
Yeah, yeah, I think that's right, which just begs
Ugh.
the question, like, what the hell is butter? Because I saw this and I'm like, this is maybe it's right, I don't know, but I'm assuming it's vegan butter, but why the F? What's it made of? It's a little mysterious.
I think it's just, um I think it's called Futter because it's, like, fake butter, so the F is, like,
Oh, okay.
fake.
Got it. Got it.
Yeah, because it's, like, if I remember right and there's a recipe for Futter, I think, in that book, or shoot, now I can't remember if that made the final cut, but, it's like coconut oil, and
Okay.
there's, like, kind of this mixture that you make that resembles the consistency of butter.
Okay. That makes me feel much better because I got a little worried for vegans out there when I heard that because I was like, "F, like, what?" I couldn't
What is
think of, like,
this?
what does the F stand for? Like, that
Yeah,
just I was like, "Oh, man, I don't know. I don't know if this is healthy," but that sounds great. Okay.
yeah.
Alright. See, this
Ooh,
again once again, reality writes, like, it's educational, folks. It's
it is.
bringing you it's you're learning something new every day. Well, I don't know. Maybe I was the only one that didn't know that, but, okay. Moving on. Question
Okay.
3, coming from book 3 in the series, On Thin Icing.
Dun, dun, dun.
Where does Jules find the body in this mystery?
Oh, I know this. In the freezer, in the chest freezer,
Okay.
because
I
this
was gonna
book.
make you clarify if you just said that, but that's
Yeah.
chest freezer, yeah.
This book takes place at Lake of the Woods up in, Southern Oregon, which
Oh,
we went to.
yeah.
So
Beautiful
gorgeous.
place.
And, they're snowed in, and I remember when we went the first time when it was snowy, we, like, traipsed down to the little, like there's, like, a little pizza place and, like, a tackle shop and snack shop, and outside there's a giant chest freezer, and, of course, I was like, "Well, that would be a great place to hide a body." You know,
Nice. Stuck them in the freezer. Yeah.
"Stuck 'em in the freezer."
This question made me think of Lake of the Woods. I wanna get back there. I love that place.
I
So
know.
great. Any time of the year, it's great, for different reasons, but, if anybody ever has a chance in the winter and you're in Southern Oregon, go to Lake of the Woods. There is a massive, like, what is it? Wind
Kite
it's not
festival.
well, it's kites, but it's like
They're on the
kite
lake.
kites on steroids. I mean, these are
Mhm.
just, like a 50-foot long salamander, inflatable kite, and it's all out on the frozen lake, which is amazing. So, yeah.
Yeah, you know what? I was originally when I was first drafting that, book, I thought I was gonna have s Jules find the body in the lake, but the lake is so frozen in the winter, I couldn't figure out, like, how that could actually happen, and that's why the chest freezer came about.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We got in trouble, shooting a little, promo shot of On Thin Icing because
That's right.
we went out on the lake and it wasn't frozen enough yet. I mean, when I say went out on the lake, we were like 6 feet off the shore in the
Oh, yeah,
swimming area. So
yeah.
had we fallen through the ice, our shins would have gotten wet. That like the water was maybe 8 to 10 inches deep at that point, but this young guy came running out of the out of the lodge there and was like, "Get off the ice, get off the ice." Like, and I was like, "Okay, okay, sorry, so sorry,
Yeah,
sorry."
yeah. I
Yeah,
forgot all about that, yeah.
yeah,
Good stuff.
yeah.
Okay, well, I like this, and I believe that you're right that the darlings are gonna, not be as kind to me perhaps as
Oh, they're gonna
as
murder you. Yeah,
yeah, okay,
totally.
good.
It's gonna be a cozy mystery murder. Because that those were I mean, the thing is I had to look up stuff that I could easily find the answers to, but
Yeah,
they will know so much more about the all of your books than even I do, and so, yeah, I would be a little afraid if I were you.
okay, great.
Okay.
I feel like maybe, there should be some kind of prize involved, like, if you stump
Sure.
me, do you get, like, something? Yeah, okay, we'll have to
Let's
work on that.
let's do it. Yeah, let's
Okay.
do it. But yeah, so darlings out there, if you want to hear your question asked on reality rights, please send them to techguy@elliealexander.co and I'll grab a couple each time and we'll see if we can stump her.
Just a couple. Oh, I think it's clear that you will all be able to stump me, that's no problem. But you're saying they can also send you a voice memo and
Yeah.
play a voice memo, so
Yeah,
they
that'd
can
be
send
great.
the question via text and email or send a voice memo. Okay,
Yeah. Yep.
great.
Yeah.
Awesome. Love it.
Cool.
Well, let's segue a little bit and turn the tables today because we're gonna talk a lot about arts and crafts today and, the cozy craft of candle making because yesterday we had a whole I don't even know what you would call it, like, smelling session?
Yeah, that's good. I don't know if there's an official term for it, but that's pretty much what it was. And I, because I have, I don't know, hundreds of bottles of fragrances that that I don't know, you have to smell them, right? So I've collected a bunch and I have like, we've got all the ones for the stuff that we sell and then all the ones that we need to test, and you were finally like, "We gotta go through these." Like, it was getting out of control, I
It's a
think.
problem. It's an addiction, darlings. Like, I will share some pictures. It's a lot. But I think what's fascinating about that, and I hope that, everyone who is listening agrees, is to talk a little bit about the process and, like, how it came to be. We've talked a little bit on Reality Rights about the Etsy shop and how you are the crafty one in, this duo, and what kind of evolved initially was that idea that when I am writing and working on a story, I fully wanna immerse myself in that world. So, in the early days of writing, we would go out, like, on a weekend shopping at, like, a little cute independent shop, and I would find a candle scent that made me feel like, "Oh, okay, that's capturing what I imagined torch to smell like." But then, because you're so creative and crafty, you decided to take that on. So, I thought it would be fun for you to talk a little bit about the process of when I'm like, "Okay, I want a candle that smells like the bake shop. I want a candle that smells like tort." How do you even start to figure out what that would be?
Yeah, no, totally. I mean, it's a little bit it's sometimes it's easier than others, I guess. Because we have a couple of candles that Etsy shop customers love, that were pretty easy to come up with formulas for, like, mocha, she wrote, we had to come up with the smell of a mocha, coffee, and so, but I did even with that, it took several tries with to get the chocolate just right, and then the balance between the chocolate and the coffee, fragrances, because it's not just one, it's a mixture of multiple, and so, yeah, just like with you and writing, there are, like, really bad first drafts that
Yeah.
happen with candles.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is why I've collected so many, fragrances over the just I'm constantly getting new ones, and you're like, "Oh, another shipment, great." But I it's funny too because early on, not so much anymore because now you have an army of uh, early readers, but I was one of the first, if not the first, early reader
Yeah.
of your stuff. You are my beta tester for this stuff. So everything that's in the Etsy shop is stuff that you personally have been like, "Yes, this is what torch smells like. This is what I imagine torch to smell like." And so you'll often give me things like, "It should be like a hint of this and with a little bit of that, and maybe a dash of this other thing." And I'm like, "Okay, wow,
Yeah.
it's gonna be tough."
Go.
But but
Make
it's
me a
funny.
perfect candle.
Yeah. There, there are little test strips that you dip in the fragrances, and you can dip it if you want just a hint of something, you put just a little bit of that in there, and then if you want more, you dip it farther in the fragrance, and then you can hold them together and kind of, like, wave them around, and you'll get a pretty good representation of what the candle is going to smell like ultimately, and, so you anytime we go to make a new candle, you're like, "Okay, that's enough." Like, after 3 or
Yeah.
4 tries, you're like, "I just can't like, I can't even," because
No.
your office is just, like, just scent overload, right? So,
Yeah,
uh,
I mean, it's not usually a bad problem to have. In
no.
fact, yesterday you were making new batches of Muffin But the Truth, which is like blueberry lemon, and I got out of the shower and I had the window open in the shower and I was like, "Oh, one of our neighbors is making muffins." And then I came out and I was like, "Oh, you're making candles. Oh my gosh, this is exactly it." Or you just perfected tort because and which is not an easy one because it's like a touch of cardamom, and then I wanted to have these vanilla notes. I mean, like, they're layered. It's not just like, oh, you get something that smells like a bake shop and it's perfect on the first try at all.
Right, right. Um, yeah, so it's, like, when it comes to developing those things, it's trial and error. It's a lot like it's funny because it's a lot like, brewing beer, which I used to do a lot of, I don't anymore, but, you make small batches of things and test them out, and so I have, like, a whole set of candle tins that just get used over and over and over again, the little 2-ounce ones, and anytime I'm trying out a new scent, we'll just use, like, the small candle tins, and we'll, test burn some of the candles and see, like, does this smell good, or could it smell better? Is it strong enough? Is it too strong? I mean, that it's just there's a lot that goes into it. There are a lot of variables, a lot of variables.
Yeah, and then you have, someone like me, I'm very particular about my scents, and a lot of especially the bake shop theme candles can go, like, really sweet and, like,
Yeah.
cloyingly sweet pretty quickly too, which I'm not a fan of, but then we know that, like anything else, they're also like, it's subjective too, just like reading, right?
Right. It's super subjective. In fact, we, like, go back and forth on this all the time because you're like,
Yeah,
"No, that's too sweet." And I'm like, "No, but that's what, like, a lot of people really like sweet candles."
yeah,
So,
yeah.
um, so I try to have some creative license with that too. And and, um and it's funny because some of the sweeter candles tend to be more popular than the others that aren't, but it is that subjectiveness is funny because, your patrons over on Patreon, we often will, let them test out new candles or get free candles, each month or whatever whenever you're, giving stuff away to them, and, we recently we tested something with them. We tested a new candle fragrance, and it was hilarious. The reaction was, I mean, I think more people liked it than didn't, but the spectrum was covered. I mean, there were people that absolutely loved it, and there were people that were like, "This is the worst thing I've ever smelled," you know?
Right, right, and so then how do you decide?
Right, right, and then it's like, "Oh, I don't know." I mean, that's, I mean, obviously not like a massive sample size, but it's just, it is funny, but I was thinking about that in relation to, like, writing and reading and everything, and it's true, it's like everything that's creative is subjective to the people consuming, whatever that creative product is, whether it's a book or a candle. Some people might love the cozy mystery and other people might be like, this is not my jam. So,
Yeah, or even I just think about that with, like, tropes within the mystery, where it's like somebody might absolutely love, the trope of, like, this sleuth falls in love with the detective or whatever, and then there's another batch of readers who are like, if you put that in a book, I will murder you." So
yeah.
it's definitely the same thing. We're gonna talk a little bit about, some of the, new stuff that we have coming, and we want darlings to be part of this process too, so we'll talk about that in a second, but, one thing that came up as we were doing the smell test, there are a lot of scents, I'm telling you, all. It's so many testers. It's it's a lot. That I hadn't seen many of them, and one you have is something that would be just for a character, and I had never thought of character candle. But let's talk a little bit about one specific character scent that you found, which I think is fantastic.
Right. Right. Well, so I was, because I've got probably, I don't know, 8 or so different companies that I buy, fragranced oils from. And, and there was one company that had a, fragrance oil that was called Handyman. And I was like, what does that smell like? And it's funny because, not to keep comparing this to, craft brewing, but the same thing is true of the fragrance oils. Like, all these companies will describe their fragrance oils and it'll be like, these notes are forward, and then the body is this type of fragrance, and then it follows with whatever. it is so funny to read through some of the subscriptions, but there's, descriptions, not subscriptions, but this particular one is called Handyman, and I think the description was something like, "It smells like sawdust and manliness," and I'm like, I don't know what that I mean, I was a little worried, like, what I'm not sure what that would smell like, honestly, but it actually it does. I don't know if it's just the, like, subliminal messaging, to I'm not sure I get sawdust, but I do get,
I
like,
call
a
sawdust.
did you? Okay,
Yeah.
see, and then it's like sawdust and then, like, a cologne that, like, you
Must.
would
Yeah.
imagine, like a master woodworker wearing, to, like, basically brush himself off, slap on a couple of, hits of the cologne, and now he's ready for a date, right? He's still covered in sawdust and everything, but that's how he cleans up for the night, and I thought this would be perfect for Hans, from the Sloane Cross Mysteries, so
I know, and yesterday when I took a little whiff, I was like, "Oh my gosh, yes, that's it." So we could have a whole line of characters, which is a lot because we're gonna talk about some of the new stuff that's coming. But, I did think it would be funny, like, if you made a candle for somebody that is loathed in my series, the first person that comes to mind is Richard Lord, like, what would his candle smell like?
oh. I mean, I know what it would smell like, I don't know if I could find it, I would have to see if there was somebody evil enough to make this, but I imagine that I would combine his with something like some dark, musky, like almost like a cheaper cologne version, like this handyman one, and combine that with fish.
Oh god.
Just the smell of just a hint of fish. So
Just
it's
a nice
just
little hint of fish.
you're right, right.
A finish
I
of
mean,
fish.
I don't know. I think that could be a big seller.
Oh my
I'm not
god.
sure.
You send it to your worst enemy, right?
Right. Totally. It's like, it'd be that like base of fish and he's trying to cover it up with this like really cheap but super strong cologne, like the kind that makes your eyes water, but you'd still get that hint of fish in the background.
Okay, see, this is so great because this is like the reverse. While I'm working on the next bake shop, I'm gonna write a scene now where he does just that because they're like making cheap fish in the kitchen, which they would, right?
Right.
And he's off for a date and he has to cover it up. Okay, this is great. See, it works both ways. We didn't even know this.
And I'm gonna totally swap out the candle on your desk when you're
Oh,
writing that book just to see it, like, just to hear the reaction. I'll be at work and I'll get this text like, "What is wrong with your candles?"
exactly. I love it.
Yeah, the Richard Lord collection.
The
Yeah.
Richard Lord collection. Oh, no. That is the candle set that literally no one wants. Or maybe you do, darlings, I don't know.
Telling you, it's one of those things that would be so bad, like, I think people would want to get it just to check it out, and then they'd be sorry and mad, and so
Yeah.
yeah. Oh,
Okay, well, that's a good segue because one of the things that we realized is that, with the bake shop, most of those scents involve food and, like, pastries and everything, and they've been so popular. You do this as a hobby, like, let's just be
right.
clear to the darlings, this is not your full-time job, and you love like, I don't wanna speak for you, but I think you enjoy the creative process of this, right?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's like creativity and science mixed together, which is like kind of my sweet spot, I think.
Yeah. But every time you put when you'll do, like, a weekend of candle making, you will, like, put them up on the Etsy shop, and then they're usually sold out, like, 2 days later at the
Yeah,
shop. I know, which is awesome, but,
yeah, yeah.
we were discussing because you do have a treasure trove of, delicious aromas, not fish, at your disposal that, we're gonna make 2 different bake shop sets, and we thought it might be fun to have one that's like the culinary cozy pack and then one that is more mystery themed. And, we also thought it would be super fun if the darlings weighed in because we've gone back and forth, like, some of the candles are just named directly after books, like Mocha She Wrote and Muffin But the Truth, because They are that smell. But then we have other stuff that's just like tort,
Mhm. Yeah.
right?
Yeah, or it's just called Bakeshop, but
Right.
yes, yeah, it's after Tort. And just to clarify, these would not the mystery theme pack would you would know what the scents are. The said that
True.
the
Yes.
names would be mystery themed.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So we want your input in terms of whether they should all just be named after titles because there are enough books where that theme matches that we could title each one that way. Or if the mystery pack, like let's say that there's one that's like ginger and spice, which is from a recipe from, I believe, either a cup of holiday fear or bake, borrow, and steal. I think I did ginger in both of those. Um, like, it could be, like, suspicion and spice, we were brainstorming name ideas, but we would love input on that, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it'd be great. Yeah, it's it goes back to this subjectivity thing, and that goes for the names of things too, not just how they actually smell, but, like, people some, like, titles but and this is the same with books, like, titles resonate with some people and turn other people off, if they just if you read a title and you're like, "Eh, it doesn't sound interesting," but if you actually picked it up and read the inside flap, you might be like, "Whoa, this sounds really great. Why is the title the way it is?" But, I don't know, so
Exactly.
I'd love to get some input.
Yes, and then, we're launching a, secret bookcase pack of candles, so these will all be bookish themes, and, we have so many title ideas for these that we have to kill some of them off, so we want your help on this too because we went down a fun, brainstorming rabbit hole yesterday, and then we're like, "Wait, we have, like, 27 names, and there are gonna be 6 candles." So
Right. Yeah, yeah. Too many that one was fun to come up with, and so, yeah, we need some help narrowing it down for sure.
so I'm gonna put polls up on my Patreon. They are gonna be live today when this episode goes live. So come on over to my Patreon page. You can join for free to vote on the polls for the new candle names, which should be fun. And we'll keep them open for like a week or two, and then that's gonna give you a lot of candle making time in the week ahead.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, we'll put the link to Patreon in the show notes in the description, but they could also just search for you on patreon.com, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. So come vote. And if you see the polls and you see our ideas and you have other ideas, like you can totally suggest some alternatives too, because we need more ideas. Or maybe it'll spark another candle that you want to make, right?
Yeah, totally. Totally. I Are we gonna talk about the idea for the patron candle now, or is that after party?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's for the after
Okay.
party. Yeah.
Alright.
Yeah.
Alright. So,
Um
something special coming to the patrons. Yeah.
Something special. Yeah, exactly. Well, I don't know who else to decide if it's
It
special,
is special.
right? Ethel.
Yeah.
There's a teaser for you.
Yeah.
Um, what is like, what's your candle advice? Because I would also like the darlings to know that you take this work seriously in terms of it being that piece of science and your creative energy coming into something. But you also are so meticulous and you put so much care into how you make the candles and how you want people to burn them and then the packaging and recycling and all of that piece.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, so it starts with the ingredients, right? There's a reason that you can go into, like, a Target or a Walmart and buy,
Not
like,
right
a
now.
giant candle for, like, $9. That if you read the ingredients of that candle, it's not gonna be good. There's gonna be a lot of words that you can't pronounce, and those are all chemicals that are in the candle, and the thing is, you're burning this in your house, so those chemicals are then being released into the air, and you're breathing that. Your kids are breathing that, your pets are breathing that. It's just, you know why risk it, right? So everything that I use is like as natural as it can get. Like it is eco-friendly. It's all like, as much natural ingredients as we can. The wax is made of soy. It's all good. And that's important, one, because I'm working around this stuff. I don't wanna be, I'm getting this stuff all over my hands and, it's like sometimes accidentally in my eye, and, I don't want to be working with a bunch of hazardous materials all the time. So we really do. I mean, that's important to us. We use a lot of these candles. I mean, I think I have 5, 6.
I know.
I've got, like
I have like
I
8 of
got
them.
I
I
mean, I've got
know.
them everywhere. I mean, they are everywhere. They're on every surface in my
Mhm.
office.
It's not a bad thing.
No, and it's honestly one of the reasons I got into it was just because we were spending a lot of money on candles.
I do love a
Just
candle.
like, yeah, and so we thought, well, if we're gonna be doing this, like, we can, like, I was like, I just wanna learn how to do it, and it turned out that, I don't know, I think I'm pretty good at it. But when it comes to, uh, the other thing is the tins that the candles are in. These are totally reusable, and the reason that we choose these, like, silver tins is because they can be used for storage containers after you're done burning it. You can melt the remaining wax out of there. You can use some like isopropyl alcohol and wipe out the residue, and it'll be completely clean. And then you can use your empty tin for storing,
Rubber
paper
bands,
clips,
or
rubber bands. Yeah,
point
yeah,
pins, pencils, you name it,
yeah,
erasers. Yep.
yeah. I would recommend. I would not recommend using them for food storage, just because like, I don't wanna get into that. Like, if your mileage may vary with that. Because you have to make sure that it's really washed out and sterilized, very, very well before you're doing anything like that. But for storing anything else, like little knickknacks and stuff around the house, like, they work really, really great for that. So that's really cool. And then, yeah, I all of the packaging that we use, like, we buy specific boxes to ship the candles in, usually like 1s and 3 packs, to reduce the amount of packing material that's needed, for them, from the Etsy shop. So that's kinda cool. I it's kind of funny, but I love getting a pack of those boxes and then having to fold all of them and put them together, because there's like putting a model together. There's like 8 folds for every box that you have to do to take it from its flat state to its perfect little candle insert, state. Um,
And,
but
like,
yeah.
all of the ink, on the packaging and the tape, like, it's all recyclable, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
totally. Yeah. Yeah, the mailing labels, and the tape are both like, from a company called Eco Enclose, and all of their materials are either compostable or 100% post, consumer products. So, they've been fully recycled. So even the paper, that we get these massive rolls of newsprint, and I was just looking over there, it looks like Sky Guy's burned through that roll, so I'm gonna
Uh-oh.
order another one. Um, I that is fully recycled paper. So yeah, trying to spread the joy with as little impact as possible, is always a good thing. And yeah, it's good stuff.
So good.
Yeah.
Okay, well, so darlings, we have well, I would like to say you only have one piece of homework, but it sounds like you have two pieces of homework. My piece of homework for you is to head over to my Patreon and vote for your candle collection favorites, and as far as titles go. And then the tech guy's homework for you as a reminder is to stump me.
Is just come up with, questions from any of Ellie's series,
Okay.
that you think will stump her, and send them to me, techguy@elliealexander.co, and I will pick some and read them on the air.
Fabulous. Good stuff.
Yes.
All right. Well, on that note, till next time.
Till next time.